There is a breed of chicken sitting in backyards across America right now that costs its owner 62 cents per egg to produce, not per dozen, per single egg. Nobody printed that number on the feed bag, nobody put it in the hatchery description, and nobody mentioned it in the thumbnail that convinced you to order a dozen fluffy chicks with credit card in hand. This breed did not fall out of favor on working homesteads because it failed. It fell out of favor because the industry needed you to keep buying it. Here is what nobody in the poultry supply business will ever say out loud. A truly self-sufficient bird, one that forages, reproduces, produces without supplements, and thrives without veterinary intervention, generates zero recurring revenue, zero repeat purchases, zero dependency. A $50 billion commercial poultry complex does not build its infrastructure around zero. It builds around monetized inputs, patented genetics, and a customer who comes back every single season because the bird they raised last year cannot produce the bird they need this year. That is not an accident. That is architecture. The breeds that broke that architecture were not celebrated. They were erased. And the breeds that perpetuated are the ones being sold to you right now as backyard staples. 3 of them are draining your operation today. And you are going to know all 3 of them before this video ends. In 1942, the United States government launched the Victory Flock Program, a wartime initiative proving that American families could raise dual-purposed heritage chickens, demonics, Plymouth Rocks, Buckeyes for both eggs and meat without commercial intervention. Then the war ended. And in 1945, the A&P grocery chain sponsored the Chicken of Tomorrow contest, a heavily funded competition explicitly designed to breed the fastest-growing proprietary hybrid possible. And the winner became the genetic ancestor of the Cornish cross, a bird engineered for the processing plant, not the pasture. By 1949, the Ohio Agricultural Experiment Station was publishing deep litter research documenting how heritage birds in managed rotational systems reduced input costs by up to 40%. The data was right there, gathering dust in university archives, and nobody had a profit motive to distribute it. Then in 2007, the Mother Earth News pastured egg study proved that heritage flock eggs contained 2/3 more vitamin A, twice the omega-3, 3 times the vitamin E, and 7 times the beta-carotene of commercial eggs. Findings the Penn State Extension Program confirmed in 2010, and not one major poultry supply catalog ever mentioned it. If you've made it this far, you've already know more about the commercial poultry supply chain than 99% of backyard farmers in this country. This video is just the surface. I've collected everything the poultry industry doesn't want you to know, all inside the Heritage Breed Vault, including the Dual-Purpose Breed Master Guide, the Pasture Rotation System Blueprint, the Zero Input Broiler Replacement Protocol, the Heritage Hatchery Independence Manual, and the Self-Sustaining Flock Financial Calculator. Over 10 complete guides in one place, no fluff, straight to the point. The link is in the description, but stay here because we are just getting started. The first breed bleeding your operation is the Silkie, arguably the most marketed backyard chicken in America. Appearing on the cover of every homesteading lifestyle magazine, filling hatchery front pages, starring in every beginner chicken video that has ever gone viral. And it will cost you everything it promises to save. A Silkie hen produces between 80 and 120 eggs per year under ideal conditions, while a well-managed black Australorp hen in the same yard, eating the same feed, will produce 280 to 320 eggs in that same window. You are paying the same feed bill for 1/4 of the output. At current layer pellet prices, your cost per egg from a Silkie runs approximately 62 cents, compared to 16 cents from that Australorp. That is not a preference. That is a financial hemorrhage. The Silkie was bred in ancient China as a decorative bird and a medicinal curiosity. Its black skin and bones were prized in traditional medicine. not on a working farm, and its soft fur-like plumage that sells it on every hatchery page is structurally useless for weather resistance. It cannot fly to a roost, it cannot forage efficiently, and it cannot see clearly in dim light because its crest feathers obstruct its field of vision. A Silkie in a wet climate is a veterinary bill waiting to happen. The industry did not bury the Silkie. The industry elevated it because a bird this decorative, this fragile, this dependent on supplemental care and specialized housing, is a recurring revenue machine. Every Silkie owner is a repeat customer, and that is exactly why it is everywhere. The second breed is the one that may be the most damaging thing ever done to the American homesteading movement. The Cornish cross broiler is in nearly every backyard meat operation in this country, and the entire sales pitch is one number: processing weight of 8 to 10 pounds in 6 to 8 weeks. What the sales pitch does not include is this: a Cornish cross cannot survive to sexual maturity under normal conditions. And if you do not process it at 8 weeks, its skeletal structure begins to fail under its own body weight. Its legs, soft and swollen by week 6, buckle, and its heart and lungs, engineered for a sprint that ends at the processing plant, are not built for a life measured in seasons. The genetics are a patented, proprietary cross owned by Avia John and Cavan Tress. Every single Cornish cross chick sold to every homesteader in America traces back to parent stock those corporations control. Meaning you are not raising livestock, you are renting genetics, and you pay every single time. The heritage answer that was buried to make room for this dependency is the Freedom Ranger, the Delaware, and the original New Hampshire red birds that reach processing weight in 10 to 12 weeks, reproduce freely, forage aggressively, and can maintain a closed flock indefinitely without a single call to a hatchery. The industry made sure those birds never had a marketing budget because the birds that cannot be sold were never advertised. Stay with me, because this next piece is the one that makes the whole system click into place. The third breed is the one hiding in plain sight as a recommendation: the Isa Brown, along with its commercial cousins, the Highline Brown and the Bovine Brown. Sold to backyard keepers as the ultimate laying hen, and in the first 18 months, that reputation is not wrong. And Isa Brown produces 300 to 320 eggs in her first laying year. She is efficient, she is calm, she is available at every farm store in the country, and she is also a patented hybrid whose breeding is owned by Institut de Selection Animale, a division of a French genetics corporation. You cannot produce her offspring if you hatch her eggs. The resulting chicks will not inherit her production traits. Her genetics reset to 0 every generation, and her production does the same thing, dropping to roughly 60% of year 1 by year 2 and leaving her functionally retired by year 3. The industry counts on this because the cycle is the product, purchase, produce, replace, purchase again. A heritage black Australorp, a speckled Sussex, a Dominique. These birds lay into their 4th and 5th years at diminishing but still viable rates. And more critically, they can reproduce, meaning you can maintain a self-sustaining flock indefinitely from your own stock with no hatchery, no catalog, no dependency. That model cannot be monetized, so it was not promoted. It was simply crowded out by a bird that was impossible to ignore and impossible to sustain without the industry's continued involvement. If you've made it this far, you already know more about heritage poultry genetics than most people who have been farming for a decade. What was buried here was not a collection of obscure breeds. It was your birthright. It's the right to raise an animal that feeds you without a recurring invoice attached. And the evidence was always there. The 1942 Victory flock, the 2007 Mother Earth News data, the 1949 Ohio deep litter research, none of it requiring a patent, none of it creating a customer. The knowledge didn't die. It was waiting in university archives, in seed catalogs that stopped being printed, in the memories of farmers who were told their methods were inefficient by the very people selling them the replacement. Every time you share this video, you are returning something that was taken, not borrowed. Taken from you, from your neighbors, from every family that spent 6 years raising birds they couldn't sustain and couldn't afford and never knew why. The next vault goes deeper into the feed formulas they patented, the supplements they made mandatory, and the one heritage system that produced a full year of protein with no purchased inputs whatsoever. That vault opens next. The birds that built this country were not glamorous. They were self-sufficient. That is exactly why they were replaced.